Hi guys, Happy New Year! I hope that 2026 has been treating you well so far. I know I haven't uploaded in so long, and this video itself is late too because it's almost end of January. But today I wanted to talk about everything I did in 2025 as well as some of my goals for 2026. And as always, before we start, if you didn't know me, I am an 18-year-old eco-fantasy author. I started writing when I was 7, and since then I've published 11 books, and I donate 90% of my profits to causes like reforestation. So first of all, I thought it would be really boring if there was no footage and you just had to listen to me talk for the whole video. So I actually put up a poll on my Instagram just a few days before the new year, asking my followers what their favorite characters of mine were. So the winner of the poll featuring all my main characters is Sol from Color the Sea, which I'm not at all surprised about because I talk about her all the time. And for deuteragonists, or second main characters, it was Fern from Windseeker. I'm pretty surprised he won by such a landslide because it's been a while since I talked about him, but I think he deserves it. I love him too. And finally, for the side characters, it was Ningyoshi from Color the Sea. I'm so sorry guys, I have to admit I don't really know how to say my own characters' names, especially in Color the Sea since most of them are cultural names, but I'm trying my best. So for my New Year's drawing, I decided to draw these 3 characters, which I guess are the fan favorites of all my characters, together in the same drawing, which is funny because two of them are from the same universe. They're from Color the Sea, but Fern is from Windseeker, which is like a whole different universe and a different book. But honestly, I think all of them would get along pretty well, because if you've read Windseeker, you would know Fern is incredibly timid, and he doesn't really talk to anyone other than people he's super close with. But Ningyoshi is around Fern's age, which does help. He's only 1 year older than Fern, even though he's older than that, chronologically, because he's a ghost, but physically and mentally he is 12 while Fern is 11. And Sol, she's 14, so she's older than both of the boys, but she is just a very open-minded and non-judgmental person, so I think it would still work out really well. She'd be the kind of person Fern feels comfortable around. Okay, so while you guys watched the footage of me drawing, I wanted to talk a little about what I did last year. Firstly, on the personal side, things were pretty crazy. I graduated high school, I turned 18, and I started college. And while I am very lucky to be able to go home on the weekends, I do spend most of my time living in a dorm, which took quite a bit of adjusting. I'm also learning to drive right now. Hopefully, I'll have my license in a few months. Generally, it's just been pretty crazy, but I do love my major, which is environmental science and policy. I'm so excited not only to get my degree, obviously, but also to learn more about the environment, because since I mostly write eco-fantasy, which is fantasy with environmental or ecological themes, everything I learn in class will be really helpful in my writing as well. So that's with my personal life, but on the writing side, a lot has happened and I'm not really sure how to describe it. It was simultaneously more and less than what I expected, but in different ways. So first of all, going into 2025, I was in the middle of my work in progress, Color the Sea, which I'm still working on right now. Unfortunately, I don't know what my word count was at the beginning of the year because I never wrote it down, so we're gonna say it was 15,000 words. That's my best estimate because I do know that by the end of February, I had 24,000 words. And by the end of 2025, I had 88,000 words, which means I added 64,000 words to Color the Sea. And that does sound like a lot, but if you think about it, it means that on average, I was only writing just a little over 5K every month, which is really not a lot at all. Especially when you consider that 30K of those words were written in November. For a challenge I joined that I'll talk a bit more about later. And that means that for the rest of the months in the year, I wrote even less. This is mostly due to a 6-month-long writing slump I was in from the beginning of May to the end of October, where I was honestly just drowning in all the research I still had to do and all the things, all the plot points I had to figure out, and I just really wasn't sure what I was doing with myself and I didn't have much motivation to write. But I finally managed to get things together in the last few days of October and do all the stuff that I was procrastinating on and figure out a lot of the things that I was stressing over. And that is thanks to a platform called StoryForge and their November challenge 30K in 30 days. This is not sponsored by any means. I don't think anyone would ever sponsor me. But I found out about StoryForge 2 years ago and I've been loving it ever since. It's this really amazing reading and writing platform where you can find incredible new indie authors away from all the problems that are in the publishing industry right now. Get tons of feedback on your own writing, talk to others in the community, join challenges, and even decorate this super cute library and adopt pets as well. And I'm really proud to say that in May I became a Story Scout officially. So I've joined the team to spread the word and help make the site better. And just to be clear, I was not paid in any way to say this or to be a Story Scout. It's entirely a volunteer position. So all of this is my opinion and I genuinely think all of you should join and follow me too, because you can be an alpha reader for Color the Sea before I even finish it. But side tangent aside, the 30K in 30 days challenge really helped me because of how supportive the community felt. There was like a board where you could just talk to other writers and find motivation. And I was pretty nervous going into the challenge because I actually did participate in 2024 as well. But instead of meeting the goal of 30K, I wrote like 10K. So I failed miserably. I was honestly expecting to fail this year as well. But to my surprise, I actually made it. And I'm really proud of myself for it. I don't think I've written that many words in a month since I was in like middle school. And although things did take a bit of a turn down in December when I didn't write nearly as much, I still feel like I can't really complain about this year just because of that November. But other than Color the Sea, I also wrote and published a novella. It was extremely spontaneous. I came up with the idea in January and I published it in May. So the whole process took like 4 months. And that was around 15K words, so if you add that to what I estimated for Color the Sea, then it means in total this year I wrote around 79,000 words. Not including the short stories and poems I wrote because I'm sure those wouldn't add very much. And it would be really hard for me to track them down anyway. But if you do happen to be curious, the novella, or novelette actually, is called The Pigeon Witch. And it's about this girl named Primrose who goes to a magical island just before her 13th birthday and meets a witch who tells her that she can teach her how to grow up and become more mature. So there's a lot of whimsical fantasy vibes, and it's generally just about something that I've always found pretty frustrating, which is that the idea that being imaginative and creative somehow makes you less mature or like less equipped for the quote-unquote real world. And the story is specifically directed at preteens with the goal of making them more confident in themselves and feel less afraid to grow up. Because I was pretty afraid to grow up when I was that age, and I don't think that's a unique feeling at all. And 90% of the profits also go towards art education, which you can learn more about on my website, crownsofthesky.com, which also has a way better description of the book than I just gave here. Okay, anyway, other than writing, I also grew my Instagram account a lot, actually way more than I expected. I grew from 400 followers to 1,800 followers. And I'm actually almost at 2K now, so if you're here from Instagram, thank you so much. I also made 60 posts and 13 reels, most of them in the first half of the year when I was pretty consistent with everything. And on top of that, I was really lucky to be able to read 14 books by the amazing people I met on Instagram. So they were all indie books and most of them were by teen authors. Some of them I beta read, but most of them I just bought for myself because I thought they looked so interesting, and they definitely were. And I was selling my books at farmers markets, a crafts market, and amazingly, through all of the copies of my books that I sold, I managed to raise $1,144, mostly for reforestation through the organization One Tree Planted, but for other causes as well, which brings the total amount of money I've raised for nonprofits to $4,750, which is just incredible. You guys have no idea how happy this makes me, and I just want to thank everyone who's watching this video right now because you're all helping support my books and all the causes I raise money for. And it's just amazing, really. I can't believe how far all of this has come. Even though I'm not famous and I'm nowhere near famous, but I think that makes each individual bit of support even more valuable, so thank you. And with that, that's all I managed to do in 2025 in terms of writing and just author stuff. So we're moving on to my goals for 2026. For writing itself, I don't really want to set a goal because I just don't really like setting word count goals for long periods of times, like a year. Like a month is fine, but maybe not a year. But I do want to publish Color the Sea. The release date for now is scheduled as June 30th, so I'll really try to make it by that time. And I also have a new idea for a brand new project, which I'm really excited about, so I want to start writing that this year as well. I hope I'll write more words this year than I did last year, but honestly, I have no clue. With college and everything, I'll just try my best. And my drafting process has always been really slow. Like, I like to take my time and think over everything and even edit as I go. So I don't know, maybe I'm just not built for writing a bunch of words in 1 year. I don't know. But I do want to make sure I put lots of time and lots of effort into Color the Sea and my next project as well, and just everything I do in the future. I don't want to rush it, and I want to use the things I learned in my degree for environmental science in my writing, which I have already been doing a lot with Color the Sea, but I want to do it even more with my next project. And another goal I have is to write more short stories and poems rather than just novels, which is also a goal I had last year, and I feel like I achieved it, so I want to continue it this year. I also would like to put my all into promoting Color the Sea because I feel like I kind of failed the Pigeon Witch. I didn't really promote it much at all. Like, I literally did the cover reveal on my Instagram story with no announcement prior. And in January so far, I've actually made some progress on this goal already. I've been planning a 30-day campaign for Color the Sea in the month leading up to its release, and it'll be filled with so much fun stuff. I'm planning the cover reveal and the book trailer and lots of fun Instagram posts and reels and even YouTube videos. I'm super excited for all of that. And finally, my last goal is somewhat related to this goal, but I want to start looking for more opportunities again since I feel like I sort of stopped doing that last year. I want to look for more markets I can sell my books at, or even like awards I could apply for maybe. I want a real journal review for my books. I've been wanting one of those for ages. And I'll even try again to set up events at the library or just anywhere around my area. I think it'll be so much easier once I have my driver's license since I won't have to just rely on my dad to drive me everywhere. I always feel a little bit guilty when I do that. And yeah, I guess those are all my goals for 2026. In terms of like goals based on numbers, for example, how many copies I want to sell or how many followers I would like to gain, I'm not really looking to set those because first of all, I don't really do well with those personally. And it also just feels like being an indie author is so unpredictable that it's super hard to set those kinds of goals anyway, because a lot of the time it's really out of my hands how these kinds of things go. But I promise I do have hopes, and I will continue to try my best this year with writing, selling, raising money for all the different causes I raise money for, and everything else. So I hope you'll stick around in 2026, even though it's pretty chaotic over here, and I upload really rarely. I'm trying to get better with that. But I'm excited for everything and so grateful for everything that happened last year, and I hope you're excited too. Okay, and with that, here is the finished New Year's drawing. I really like how it turned out. I think it looks pretty cute, and there's something about just seeing these 3 characters that you guys voted as your favorites that makes me really happy, because they really are some of my favorites too, and they suffer so much in each of their stories that it's just nice to see them happy together. But happy late New Year! I hope you have a great 2026 and achieve all of your goals, and stay happy and healthy because that's just as important, and I'll see you in the next video, hopefully in less than 8 months.